Hello, ladies. Hello, hello. I have a very special thing I'm doing tonight. So, one, I want to welcome everyone. Two, I've decided to do a little special sneak preview for all of the podcast listeners. To all my podcast listeners who are going to listen to this, welcome. And again, this is a little sneak peek so you can see what it's like when you come and join us in Transform Boss. So, welcome. Hashtag all our new bosses. So happy that you're here. And I'm excited. Here we are. We're in March. We're approaching the middle of March. And, as I always say, time flies. We have lots of fun things next week, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure next week. Dana and I are going to do food finds, and I cannot wait. Coach Dana and I. We also, have some other exciting things like the enhanced course and the T-Boss generator and just some other really fun things, again, to help all of you ladies have success. So fun, right? I know. I cannot wait. So I was thinking about today's boss teaching. And, as I was thinking about what I wanted to teach, I want to talk about how to make it easy. I love hard work, and my definition of hard, it doesn't bring me heartburn. I can look back at my life and see that anything that has been worth anything has been difficult and hard and have had challenges. But I know that weight loss for many of you has been difficult. If I asked you to rate 1 to 10, what your thoughts on if weight loss is hard, with, 10 being the hardest, I think a lot of you could say, it's been really difficult. And I think through this process and everything that you're learning in Transform Boss is about how to start to change the mental weight and the things that are holding you back. And, we do this in very simple ways. So, right, keeping it simple, the 3 simple steps, the basics, focusing on 1 to 2 things at a time. And what I want to challenge all of you tonight, and what we're going to get into, is how to start thinking and asking yourself this question: how can it be easy? Yes, I think weight loss can be easy. And I think when you start to get your mind around what can be easy, what can be fun about this, I think you just have a much better journey. I remember when I was losing all of my weight and I was starting the work of losing the mental weight. Oh, I see a lot of 10s. I know, I see ya. When I, decided, to do this and I started working on my mind, it did start to feel really easy. If you asked me today, like some of the basics that we do here in Transform Boss, like making a realistic plan, it is so easy to me. In my brain, like no brainer, let's do it. Boom. It is 90% of the time really easy for me to eat on plan and not even think a second thing about it. And even when it's not easy, and I have quotation marks, it's still, yeah, like it's not hard. Like it's not like, the way that I say I would feel like when I was, on previous quote unquote diet plans or previous things. And so how can you make this easy? And so I'd love for you to, put in the chat, how can you make this easy? And if your brain right now is like, frozen on this, I want to walk through a few steps and things on how to make this process easy. Because I think, yes, is there work? Yes. But for some of you, when I say that there's hard work, your brain, it gives you an excuse to not do anything. So I just want you to hear that. When you hear the word hard work, your brain gets overwhelmed and your brain is like, right? And then you don't do anything. And I really want, and if that's you, there's no judgment. There are many things in my life, including weight loss, where I have just, wanted to shut down and give myself lots of reasons why it's okay to do that. But when I start to think that things are easy, when I start thinking like, Drinking water, one of the 3 simple steps, getting hydrated, so easy to me. It wasn't easy for me at first. It wasn't. I didn't really like water. I didn't really want to focus on drinking all the time, or, worried about like checking my urine to see if I was hydrated, all of that. I have no like mind drama about this. So I think the first step in this whole process is deciding some piece of this process that you want to make this easy, and that you want to, start to believe that this is easy. Oh, I love it. I love some of the things. So I want to read a couple of things on the chat. Leaving a bite. Yes, for sure. Oh, yeah. Someone wrote journals and colorful journals, right? To do reflection work. Love that too. With all of the pieces, this thought, I want to make this easy. Ladies, I want to get really honest with you. Ladies, you know what to do. Even ladies who are like confused of like, I don't know where to begin and I don't know where to start. This is just, I want to just let you all know that is your lizard brain convincing you that you don't know. But it's just because you have fear of failure. And so your brain's done this all the time. Your brain has been like, oh, we don't know what to do. And just knowing, you do know. You do know what to do. You do know how to get started. And again, sometimes you're like, well, Shannon, I don't know all the specifics. It's like, okay, my love, but you know how to figure things out. There's this book by Marie Forleo called Everything is Figure Outable. And we do this as a book club because I love this thought that I can figure it out. I don't always know all the time the next step, but I always know the first step. So I think about my new bosses who just joined. They don't know all the steps yet. We have our getting started party tonight, but they know the first step. And the first step was joining Transform Boss. And so, right, this is again how to start to make this feel easier. When you think I don't know, and you start to get into the emotion of confusion, I just want to offer you a different thought. The different thought is, I can figure this out. All I need to know is the first step or the next step. I don't need to know all the steps. See, I believe that that's how we start to make things difficult and complicated and overwhelming. Remember, it is just because our brain is like, I want you to stay the same. Your amygdala, your lizard brain wants you to stay the same, does not want you to change. And it seems so like, what? Yes, true fact. Even though your thinking brain has all the dreams and all your goals, this is why you've quit on yourself before. This is why you start to do something and then you stop, because there's a part of you that wants you to just stay the same. I just love knowing that, so that when that part of me starts to get confused and starts to get like, I don't know, and starts to, make it hard in my brain, then I can be like, okay, what is the next step? So the first part of the process is, what is the next step? That's all you ever need to know. And I say this because we think it's got to be 500 steps. I have to do all of the things. But when you just know the next step, the next best action, then you can take that next step. And you don't have to worry about all the other things. Ladies, when you're on this journey to losing weight for good, you don't know the work that you're going to do. You don't know all of the amazing things that you are going to do. All you mostly know is like the next step. And really, that's all that you can do. It's this whole thing, like we can do all the things and I'm going to change everything and all that does, remember, I want you to really think about this, because when you start to get like, I got to do all the things and I have to do it perfectly, that is your way of giving yourself the break to quit on yourself. It's your way of staying the same. And so first step of making it easy is just focusing on the next step. What is the next step? I also like to call it the next best action. What is the next best action? And again, it helps me. Ladies, I like to get confused too. I like to get like, I don't know what to do. And, I do this in the business. So it used to be losing weight. Now it's the business for me. And so when in the business, I love to be like, I don't know what to do. Oh, really. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, but I'm on to myself now. Like, I know that when I am thinking those things, when I am thinking I don't know what to do and I'm confused, then I just know, like, oh, that's right. That's right. That's my brain's trying to get me to just stay the same, to not do anything different. So, one simple step and one step forward. 2, break down that one simple step. For some of you, like my new bosses, you're going to focus on starting the course and you're going to start taking the course. And so you want to break it down. You don't want to take all the course. You just want to take your time through it. You want to start, like, I'm going to do one simple step. My next step is I'm going to watch video number 1. Then you watch it and then you move to the next. So you're just going to break it down into simple, easy tasks. If you're focused on leaving a bite, there's a tool that I love that I teach called Minimum Baseline. And it's where you ladies know, where you, instead of like 7 out of 7 days, you're going to do it 3 out of 7 or 4 out of 7 or 2 out of 7, because you want to start to see success. So you're going to break it down, set realistic expectations, and throw in some minimum baselines. Ladies, our brains are so programmed to want to do it all. And one of the things I want to teach all of you, and I have to remind all of you, this is not just for my new bosses. This is like for ladies who've been with me since the dawn, the beginning. Like, you always have to go back and remind yourself, like, okay, I'm focused on one thing, one step forward, and I'm going to set my minimum baselines. It's eye-opening to me when I myself want to, again, make it really super confusing, make it really super hard. Because when I start to think that it's easy, when I start to think that it feels easy, right? And I equate feeling easy to relaxed, calm, right? When I feel those feelings and it feels easy, then it's easier for me to take the next step. It's easier for me to stay committed to what I'm doing. So the next step, number 3, is focus on the solutions rather than the problems. So I want you to hear that. Focus on the solutions rather than the problems. So maybe you ate off plan and you're beating yourself up, or maybe you're just telling yourself, I got to get back on track. I got to get back on track. When you say that, you're focused on the problem. You're focused on, I ate off plan. You're focused on, I've been eating off plan for a week and I don't know how to get, quote unquote, I don't like back on track, but I'm going to use words I hear, right? So you're focused on the, I want to get back on track. And so when you focus on the problems, you're just in this, like, again, indulgent emotions. You start to doubt yourself. You start to feel like you're going to fail rather than focused on the solution. So I'd love for you ladies to put in the chat. Let's just say you were helping one of the other ladies out and she said, oh my gosh, I'm eating off plan and I don't know how to stop eating off plan. What is a solution to that? And as ladies throw that in the chat, I'll give you some of my own ideas. When you are eating off plan, there's a couple different things that you can do. One, you can start to ask yourself, well, why? Why am I overeating? You can also look at your realistic plan and see, is it realistic? Are you trying to restrict too much? And then you're binging, right? So you've been really trying to, quote unquote, be good, and then you're just overeating. And so what you can do is the solution to that is allowance, is allowing yourself to meet yourself where you're at. You can also, I want to read some of the what ladies are putting in the chat. So asking yourself questions, coming back into awareness. Ooh, a thought dump. So if you don't know what a thought dump is where you just take a piece of paper and you just dump out all the stuff in your brain. I don't even keep my thought dumps, actually. It's not for that purpose. The purpose is so that you can disrupt your thinking so you can get to a better thought. So you can get to a one better thought. So you can start to think something different. We get caught in these thought loops over and over and over again. And so what happens is when we just dump it out, it allows our brain to almost process it and leave it on the paper. It's not that we're never going to think it again. It just allows us in that moment to move on to the next step, the next best action. Love it. Give yourself grace. Ooh, I love that. Give yourself grace, ladies. Ooh, I love it. So number 3, focusing on the solution rather than all the problems. Number 4 is learning from challenges, failures, and mistakes. So when I have a challenge, when I start to have mistakes, I like to learn from them. I love to just look at them from a curious point of view, not a judgmental, not a, oh, Shannon, I knew you were going to do this thing, or, oh, there you go again. I told you couldn't do this. I mean, I know, ladies, this goes through your brain where you eat off plan or you eat something that you didn't want to eat. And then you start with this whole thought process of, I can't do it. I'm going to fail. All of it, right? How can I do this? And what happens is you go in what I like to call the puddle. And then you're back into the problems instead of the solutions. And what I like to do when I start to get there is just take a piece of paper and ask myself this very simple question. I ate off plan. And I always like to add, so what? Because I love telling myself, so what? It's like a thought disruptor. When my brain is, I like to call it whining and self-pity and oh, Shannon, it's so hard. La, la, la. I like to just say to myself, so what? Not because I love myself. I care for myself. But for me, it's just like a brain disruptor of okay, Shannon, this is happening. You had this failure. You had this. Now, what did you learn from it? How can you grow from it? What could you do differently next time? Is this a trigger? Is this something you even want to change? I like to ask myself those questions so then I get to decide what I'm going to do. It keeps me in the power of me and being curious instead of the judgment, the beat down. Ladies, you know all the things. The next step number 5, is starting to visualize your success. I love visualization. And so for all of my ladies, I want you to think about yourself 3 months from now. And I want you to think about the next version of yourself and visualizing success and visualizing how you keep showing up and you stay committed to yourself. And that next version, that next person, even 1 year from now, 5 years from now, how you're becoming that next version of yourself. And I love this. I think about this as we're doing this work on 100-year life, thinking about, I've been thinking a lot about my 100-year-old self lately and what she's like and what all she's done and all the gifts that I've given to my 100-year-old self. And I like visualizing it. I like visualizing my wins and how I'm creating these gifts for my future self. And so visualization, really, I just like to do it in 2 different ways. One, I like to close my eyes and really think about my future self. I like to think about her and successes and me. I like to even think of myself celebrating those successes. And then 2, I like to write. I like to write a letter to my 100-year-old self of what I'm doing for her right now. Right now, I am doing things. So at 100 years old, if I'm on this planet, I can tell her, like, I loved you enough. Oh, it makes me emotional, ladies. I loved you enough when I was 52 to show up for you, to commit to you, to love you, to be kind to you, to have grace for you, to do the work that is amazing, to make it easy so so you can keep doing it. Like, that is what I'm giving to my 100-year-old self. And number 6, last, and I think this is it's such an important part of this journey, is celebrating your wins. #wins. Really going in and celebrating your wins. And every Friday, we have the Feeling Good. And ladies, been a little light. So I'd love for you ladies to go on there and post. I read them every single week. Celebrate your wins, your victories, the things that you feel amazing about, and celebrate them. We'll celebrate them with you. We will cheer you on, because ladies, everything that you do when you're committed to yourself, when you're making these small steps forward and you are setting realistic expectations and minimum baseline, you're focused on the solution and the next step forward, you're learning from your mistakes, you're visualizing your success, and then you're talking to yourself about, this is easy. Yeah, this is easy. So ladies, what I want you to do is I want you in the chat to throw in, because at the beginning of this, I asked you, how can you make this easy? The work that you're doing. How can you make it easy? How can you think it's easy? What I want you to do in the chat is to think about, what would you need to feel? What's the feeling in your body that you would need to feel to think this is easy? Weight loss is easy. Throw it in the chat. We'll wait a moment. Ooh, I can't wait to see them. What is a feeling word? A feeling word that you would need to feel to think this is easy. Ooh, I like these. These are words: fierce, free, confident, powerful, excited, peaceful, peace. Ooh, strong. I love it. Committed. Ooh, I like that. Ooh, I like all of these, ladies. Yes, these are the feelings. Happy, confident, love it. Oh, I love it so. So you can feel on purpose. And how you feel on purpose is you think the thought. The thought is, weight loss is easy, or I'm learning to make weight loss easy. And then you can feel confident and joy and strong and happy and peaceful and powerful and free. All of these feelings that you want to feel. It all begins with what you're thinking. Ladies, yes, let's go, ladies. So, I love it. I know, I love it, ladies. When you think that something is easy, or when you tell yourself, I'm learning how to make it easy, and you start feeling some of these feelings, what you will do, determined and worthy, I love that. What you will do will be different. Then if you think, oh, this is so hard, I can't do this, I'm failing, right? When you think that way, you start to feel discouraged and defeated. And then most of you, including me, my old self, right? You go to your comfort, which is overeating. So practice the thought and the feeling that you have here today, because ladies, you do have this. You do, because it's easy. I know, ladies, I can't even. All right, ladies, I love all of you ladies. All my podcast listeners who are listening to this, I just want to say, so glad you got a little ear in on us today. And go to jointransformboss.com if you want to learn more, or if you want to come and be a new boss. All right, my loves, to all my bosses, I love you. and we're going into the coaching call right now. Bye, my loves.